He never imagined a simple act of kindness would change everything. On a rainy evening, a black single dad stopped to help a stranded woman, offering a hand without hesitation. Her grateful smile hid a secret that would shatter his world, a secret that would place him at the mercy of the very justice system he had always respected. In that fleeting moment, he had no idea that the stranger he helped held the power to decide his fate, and that one choice could alter the course of his life forever. He was a man of quiet strength, a black single dad who had spent years balancing two worlds, raising his child alone while working tirelessly to provide a life filled with stability and love. His days began before sunrise and ended long after the city had gone to sleep, yet he never complained. Neighbors admired his dedication. Strangers often noticed his unwavering patience, but few truly understood the weight he carried each day. Life had not been easy, and he had learned to navigate the subtle, often unspoken barriers that came with his skin color. On this particular evening, the city streets were slick with rain, reflecting the neon lights that buzzed softly in the distance. He was driving home after a long shift, thinking about dinner, homework, and bills when he noticed her, a woman stranded by the roadside, soaked and struggling with a broken car door. Without a second thought, he pulled over, grabbed his umbrella, and offered help. As he worked to free her from the unexpected predicament, he felt a sense of satisfaction in helping someone in need. Yet there was something oddly familiar about her posture, her calm composure amid the chaos. He couldn't place it, but it made him pause for a brief, fleeting moment. In that brief encounter, neither of them knew that their paths were intertwined in ways far beyond a rainy night and a simple act of kindness. Days passed since that rainy encounter, but he couldn't shake the feeling that something about her had seemed different. Life went on. Work, school, bills, but a quiet unease settled in the back of his mind. Then the call came. It wasn't the kind of call he expected. A summons to court had arrived, stating that he was required to appear before a judge regarding a case that could upend everything he had worked for. Confused and anxious, he tried to understand the charges, but the legal language twisted around his thoughts, leaving him more overwhelmed than ever. He felt the weight of systemic forces pressing down, an invisible tension that seemed to follow him at every turn. As the court date approached, memories of the stranded woman returned with alarming clarity. The way she had looked at him, the calm authority that seemed oddly familiar. And then, in the quiet moments before stepping into the courthouse, the realization hit him like a thunderclap. The woman he had helped that rainy night was no ordinary stranger. She was the judge assigned to his case, the very person who held his fate in her hands. Every interaction he had with the court now carried a new, unspoken layer of tension. The city that had always felt neutral suddenly seemed charged, every passerby a reminder of the precarious position he was in. Friends and family offered encouragement, but he felt isolated in his fear, aware of the subtle biases that could tilt a single decision against him. Each day in the waiting room, each glance from the bailiff, and every shuffle of papers reminded him that one choice by one person could erase years of effort, love, and sacrifice. And yet, even in this storm of anxiety and uncertainty, he clung to his principles, the belief that integrity and kindness mattered, even when the world seemed determined to punish him. The memory of extending a hand to a stranger lingered in his mind, a fragile reminder that acts of humanity could echo in ways he could never have imagined. With each step toward the courtroom, the stakes grew higher, and the suspense deepened, leaving him teetering on the edge of hope and despair, unaware of the twist that awaited him. The courtroom was silent, the air thick with expectation. Every eye seemed to weigh him down as he walked toward the bench, each step echoing the uncertainty he had carried for weeks. He tried to steady his breathing, aware that this single moment could determine everything: his future, his child's security, the fragile peace he had fought to build. Then she appeared. The judge, poised and composed, glanced at him with a measured calm that made his heart skip. For a fleeting moment, time seemed to stretch, memories of that rainy night flashing vividly in his mind. The umbrella, her grateful smile, and the quiet strength that had shown through despite her own struggles. The connection he hadn't recognized before now hit him with full force. The woman he had helped was the one holding the power to decide his fate. The proceedings began, each word spoken carrying weight, each ruling a step closer to an outcome that could reshape his life. He could feel the invisible tension tightening, like a rope slowly constricting around him. The courtroom's murmurs, the scribbling of pens, the shuffling of papers all blended into a relentless, oppressive rhythm. Yet amid the intensity, he noticed subtle gestures, hints of acknowledgement, a flicker of recognition in her eyes. It was in that instant he understood something profound. The humanity he had extended in a simple act of kindness mattered more than he had imagined. His integrity, his empathy, his willingness to see and help another human being had left an indelible mark. The judge's expression softened, and for a heartbeat, the power imbalance between them seemed to vanish, replaced by the quiet justice of a world momentarily aligned with fairness. Then the verdict came. The words, carefully measured but heavy with consequence, carried both relief and affirmation. The tension broke, releasing a torrent of emotions he hadn't allowed himself to feel. In that moment, the act of helping a stranger, once so ordinary, so mundane, revealed itself as the defining choice of his life. The gavel fell, and with it, a weight he hadn't realized he had been carrying finally lifted. Relief washed over him, but it was tinged with something deeper, a sense of clarity, understanding, and an unwavering reminder of the fragile threads that bind justice, humanity, and opportunity. The courtroom, once a place of anxiety and looming consequence, now felt like a stage for the quiet triumph of integrity and compassion. He walked out into the sunlight, a world that seemed both familiar and subtly transformed. The experience had shown him that acts of kindness, however small, could ripple far beyond what anyone might anticipate. The judge, the strangers whose life had intersected with his in the most unexpected way, had reminded him that fairness was not just a principle in books or courtrooms, but a reflection of the humanity we carry in our choices. This encounter left an indelible mark on him, not only on him, but on the way he viewed the world. He understood the pervasive weight of systemic challenges that people like him face daily, and he also recognized the power inherent in empathy, the ability to shift outcomes, influence decisions, and even challenge biases with simple, selfless actions. As he returned to his child, to his home, and to the life he had worked tirelessly to protect, he carried more than just relief. He carried hope. Hope that the world could sometimes surprise us, that justice could align with kindness, and that individuals, regardless of their position, could make choices that honor humanity.